Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Talking About Rock. I'm Rob Edwards. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed their Father's Day weekend. I was a busy guy, and happy Juneteenth to everyone out there also in the U.S. as well. So this past weekend, I was lucky enough to catch Kiss tribute band Mr. Speed at the Showcase Theater, put on a great show. Opening that night, we had Jim Crean's Hair Nation and a new band, which I just came across, Garage, both out of Buffalo. Had some great energy for the show. It was really enjoyable. And it's so good to catch up with Rich from Mr. Speed, as I hadn't spoken to him in about a year, but his band just put on a tremendous performance, and we're so glad to see them back in Buffalo. So we have with us today a very special guest, our next guest, with dark and progressive rock from the sun and steamy swamps of South Florida. They create music with the energy of David Bowie and the inspiration of Pink Floyd. Please welcome to the show, Toby from 12 Below. Toby, how are you today?
Hi, I'm really well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So tell us about this project here, how it came about for you. Looks like you got a lot going on.
Yeah, so we are actually in the process of recording our third album, which will come out in the fall. But we have two albums out at the moment. And that started all about a year and a half ago. When, I mean, you know, COVID times, all of that.
Right, everybody had a lot of time on their hands, right?
Exactly. And I was doing something else, kind of earning my money, doing something else, was a management consultant.
Oh, okay.
But I took the opportunity with COVID times and the lockdowns and having time on my hands to reignite an old passion of mine, which is writing and recording music. I used to do that way back when, kind of just around college time and so on. So back in Germany, so you can probably tell by my accent, I'm German American. I would live in America since more than 20 years now, but I started in Germany. And so we did some work around with other bands that are thankfully now defunct. So probably not that great. We had mediocre success in something that they called German New Wave. So that's kind of way back when. And then I just needed to make some money, so I did something else and came back to the music about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
And that's when you put together the debut States of A?
Yes. So I was glad to discover I still had it. So I could still do it. And there was so much, I think it probably over the years accumulated in my mind of songs and fragments of songs and so on that just wanted out. So I just started, as many people do now, at home, right?
We've noticed a lot of people do that, right? Because you couldn't get into a studio. And a lot of times, sometimes it was easier for artists too, because they could send tracks back and forth to different folks, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I really started originally with GarageBand, if you can think about it, just recording some things and saying, oh, well, that's not too bad, and then refining it and then sending it over to my brother in Germany. My brother is a music producer, actually. He used to play in the band with me way back when. And he stayed with it all the time, and he's now producing, recording, and so on. So we collaborated together on this. So he plays bass sometimes on this. I played most of the other instruments.
I was going to say, it looks like you played most of it, wrote the lyrics. You're just doing it all here.
Yeah. It's really not quite a band, right? It's more project. I'm hoping one day I can put a band together and we can put it on stage and so on, but that's maybe next year.
Right.
But at the moment it kind of started small and then it got better, I think. And so yeah, I recorded most of the instruments, played around with it, and it. Well, you see for yourself how it turned out. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you can hear so many different influences in there. Myself, I heard, the Pink Floyd and the David Bowie right away for me. I was a big Pink Floyd band back in the day. But other folks have described they've seen, heard Marilyn Manson parts in there, 9 Inch Nails. It's kind of a diversity, and there's even some operatic elements in it at times, which is really neat.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's blessing or not, or curse, right? So when people ask me, okay, well, what do you sound like? Right? Or what kind of music is it?
Right. It's hard to put it in a box, right? Because you're doing so many. Right.
I think you mentioned some of those influences, and I'm sure if you have a sharp ear, as you do, you'll hear bits and kind of little nuggets buried in there. And kind of you could name Arcade Fire as an influence for sure. Tool, I like Tool a lot. And then the prog greats, right? So Pink Floyd, Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And so I think I'm old enough to be undogmatic. So I just, whatever comes to mind, I just put it out there.
Well, it's definitely unique and it definitely stands out. And the one track I really like was Secrets. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Secrets was actually, we only published it recently, but it was one of the first songs when I started again that we recorded. And it's kind of a little bit mysterious. So we kind of, you said in the introduction, it's kind of dark atmosphere. I like that, right? So there's this slightly gothic, maybe in I don't know if you play the video at some point. So it's actually more than slightly gothic. Probably.
Yeah, because you guys have been described as like art rock back with a vengeance.
Yeah. So we like that, and it's a story about relationship from the lyrics, but it could be on an interpersonal level as well as on a political level. So it's a commentary maybe about that, but I kind of keep it a little mysterious. So
excellent. Well, I think it's an outstanding track for sure, and I wanted to play the video for it here, and we'll get right back into it after this. So we'll play Secrets here from 12 Below. We'll be right back on Talking About Rock.
Your eyes, truth or lies. Love or lust, in God we trust, in hate we stare, with hope we care. Toss and fight, the brave and free, is that you and me? Is the hill still there, the city fair? Can we abide across the great divide? Your heart
Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock. Just checked out the video for Secrets. Excellent stuff. You said that was the first thing that you wrote or that you had?
Pretty much that I don't know. I think it wrote itself in a few hours. And I still remember kind of I was just walking around in the woodlands and I had my iPhone with me and something popped in my head and then I recorded it initially on GarageBand and then built on that. So it's kind of a funny little story.
What type of effects are you using for your recordings in that? Is it all studio digital, or do you have like, rack mounted effects or certain things you do, or how do you get some of your effects? Because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so it's all. I mean, that's where my brother comes in as the producer.
Right.
So he then takes whatever I have, he loads it up in Pro Tools, and then he plays with it. So I imagine he has all kinds of effects to manipulate the guitar sounds, the vocals. There's a lot of electronics in there. So I honestly I don't actually precisely know what
he's doing. He's got some wizardry going on behind the scenes there for you.
Touch that I owe a lot to.
And you guys are experimenting with like different time signatures and neo-psychedelic elements. You guys are throwing everything in there in the kitchen sink, but it sounds really cool.
It's several decades of not producing anything, right? And,
all stored up, right?
There, and all these different influences. And also visually trying to do that as well, right? And using even artificial intelligence to create some of the imagery as well as some of the sounds. These days in production, artificial intelligence, like in almost any other area of life, plays a big role, right?
Right. So would you say that was your influence, growing up? Or you're more into the progressive music, like some of the bands you described, or?
Yeah. So I think the first band I was really a fan of, and still am, was Queen. So that I think.
Yeah, they had a sound all their own, right? All their own, and
amazing.
And no one else will replicate Freddie Mercury for sure. And I just remember watching the movie, and they're just like, no one's going to play that long song on the radio, right?
Exactly. And I remember when it came out, right? I was around, as I said, I'm an old guy, so I was around.
Yeah.
At the time when it came out.
I'm not much younger myself over here, so.
so certainly that. But I was all over the place, I must say. I took also, I mean, you mentioned Pink Floyd, Genesis, I like Yes. all the greats of that time. But also I got into a little bit into punk when it came up. I mean, kind of replaced to some extent progressive rock, was a counter movement to that, and then followed by new wave and post punk, and so I'm fairly eclectic, I think, in my taste.
Now, did you grow up in Germany?
I did, yes, yeah. So I lived my first 25 years in Germany. Then I moved to the UK. I lived in the UK for 10 years, and then since then in the US, with some excursions to France as well. So.
Yeah, and we've heard there's just such a different music taste in the other places outside the US. You know, rock and harder core elements of different music are still really big in those areas, and people still really appreciate it. We're not too sure what's going on here in the U.S. because we got an 80s rock resurgence, obviously, but some of the other stuff is more dance poppy still. That's the big popular thing. We're hoping rock climbs back to the top again, and is a little more popular here as it is in other parts of the world. But so you mentioned some punk before, and I think that kind of lets us into the next song I wanted to talk about was Cage. So can you tell us some about that?
So Cage is quite a rough song. I think it's
right.
very distorted. It's hard to say what it really is. It's somewhat electronic, but it's as I said, very distorted. So maybe it's something like electronic punk or something like this.
That's a good way to describe it.
I don't know if that exists, electronic punk, but maybe.
Well, it does now. You just created it, so there you go.
And it's about breaking out, right? It's called Cage, so
right.
Someone kind of has the shackles on and wants to break free, and again, it's also about relationships a little bit. There's a line in there. I'm the other in your cage. So in the end, so even if we might be fighting with each other and so on, we're in the same boat or in the same cage.
Well, I think it's a super interesting track, and I wanted to play that video for it as well. Here, we'll take a quick pause, and we'll be right back with Toby from 12 Below. We'll play the video for Cage here on Talking About Rock. Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock. Just caught the video for Cage from 12 Below. We're back with Toby here. So tell us a little bit about the newer album, The Sound Topographer's Journal. That's a mouthful there.
It's a mouthful in more ways than one, and an earful too. So while the first album was pretty much a straight rock album, right?
Right.
We talked about that. The second one is totally different. It's only instrumental, and it can be quite challenging to listen to be honest. So it is also very dark. It's almost science fiction music. There are times when it veers into almost contemporary classical music. So we played around with that a little bit and simulated an orchestra, and we have piano soli in there and all of that. So we imagined it more like film music.
Okay, right.
Very cinematic, and this journey that the title talks about is kind of an imaginary journey through different waypoints, different feelings that are evoked, hopefully, by the music. But it's not for everyone. That's a difficult album, I think. But just wanted to make it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty amazing. Definitely, there's you guys got so much stuff going on. You're changing your sound kind of, which with each offering a little bit. Are you kind of just looking for your niche, or do you just like experimenting with the different aspects? Or
yeah, so I mean, you will when you listen closely, you find commonalities, even though the style might be at first sight very different, but there are some commonalities in there in the electronics and in the overall sound. But we are really, you could say we're all over the place, right? We don't know what we're doing, or we just want to explore many different.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't think you're all over the place. I think you're just, like I said, you're trying different things to see where the niche is, where it fits right for you, including so many wonderful elements and different things. And seeing what genres of music it kind of fits a little bit into at the time. Like you said, there's so many different aspects of it, from Pink Floyd to punk to Tool to, like, even you said like AI and things like that, more computerized sounding or things like that, or even like techno, so you're kind of covering the gamut there, which is really neat. They're very experimental, very progressive, and that's exactly what you guys are.
Yeah. And we were actually thinking about, should we even publish it under these two albums under the same name, right? Or would that be confusing because it's so different? But then we were encouraged really by an example of 9 Inch Nails, for example. He does the same thing, right? He has this very hard rock, very driving tracks, as well as very ethereal soundscapes, and so I think we took our inspiration from that. We say, it just doesn't matter. We just put it on the same.
Well, I think it's definitely amazing stuff for sure. Very cool stuff. We're glad you're here and we could check it out. So you guys just came back from some tour dates, and you got some coming up, or what's happening with that?
No, we're not touring. So at the moment we're just a touring studio project.
Okay.
But it's still something maybe next year we can think about. At the moment we are recording the third album, which is somewhere in between the two. So stylistically, so we've done kind of almost half of it, I think, and then we need to mix it, and it will come out probably, hopefully, in October or so.
Great. Well, I love it. I would push for the more Pink Floyd sound because that's near and dear to my heart. It's excellent stuff. I really love it. I'm really glad we got a chance, like I said, to connect and bring you on the show. If folks want to know more about you, where's the best place to check you out? I know you got your stuff on Spotify and they can do it there. Are you on the other music platforms too?
It's on all the platforms, any streaming platforms you'll find it. 12 Below, right? That's the project's name. You find it on YouTube, some videos there. Twitter, if we post regularly on Twitter if there's anything new coming up, and so on. Instagram a little bit. So I think we're using all of those.
On all the platforms. Great. So yeah, we look forward to dates coming up for you. Hopefully next year we'll see you out on tour somewhere. That would be excellent.
Fantastic.
It really sounds good. So like I said, thank you again for
Okay,
stopping by. We
all.
really appreciate it. If you folks out there have comments or questions for us, please feel free to email us at talkingaboutrock@gmail.com. Please like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and as always, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all our up and coming interviews. Toby, again, thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.